Hey, what up YouTube? This is girl PM coming to you with a video blog, a vlog. I'm here on AMPM Adventures to tell you my favorite podcasts. A little thing about me, I like to listen to some podcasts. I commute to work. I like to unwind on my lunch break. And podcasting, listen to podcasts is like one of my favorite things to do. I'm gonna give you my top 3 faves. Yeah, just top 3, because I love podcasts, but I'm also kind of selective with them. Like how I watch TV shows, I like to unwind and I like easy listening, and these are my easy listening kind of low drama podcasts. And number 3 is Jalen and Jacoby. AM brought me on to Jalen and Jacoby because he likes basketball and sports, and we would commute together to work, and he would put it on, and I started to really like it. I am not the biggest basketball fan. I do love like the Blazers. When it's on, I'm all for it. I keep up with like some things, but this is like the perfect podcast for someone who's kind of a sports fan but also likes pop culture. I love it. It's Jalen Rose, who is a retired pro basketball player, and he is so funny. When he talks about basketball, he's also very interesting to listen to because he is so passionate, and he can like dissect basketball and basketball players and goes to every like avenue of basketball and talks about it like so eloquently. And then he like cracks me up when he talks about his favorite food, lifestyle choices, just like anything. He's so entertaining. It's just really entertaining to listen to. Really funny. Jacoby's pretty awesome too. They both kind of tease each other, and they're just like really good friends and really fun to listen to. And that's why I enjoy Jalen and Jacoby. And I also learn a lot too. Learn a lot with basketball, and it's very interesting. I really like them too because they always like are very positive. Like I know who their favorite teams are and like favorite players, but they also always give props to the Blazers because the Blazers are awesome. My second favorite podcast is a new podcast that I've been listening to for about 2 months. Is Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. So you got your Conan O'Brien, who is a very hilarious talk show host, which it's funny because I don't really watch talk shows anymore. I might have done that like in middle school, like after school you watch Ellen or like Oprah or something, those shows. But Conan O'Brien, I would like get clips off the internet, and I always really enjoyed his interviews. I watched some of his Netflix specials, and so it kind of intrigued me when I saw he had a podcast. I'm like, ooh, that sounds really great, because I really like Conan O'Brien. He's very positive, he's very funny and intelligent and very witty and pretty spicy, just everything I really like. And he interviews different people, and I get different aspects of Conan. Sometimes he's really funny, sometimes he's pretty serious. Like my favorite interviews, he's not really interviewing, he's just doing like conversations. Like he wants to like has his friends over for like a dinner, and they just talk about whatever. Like his first episode was with Will Ferrell, and that was pretty hilarious. Will Ferrell's awesome. And then another one I really liked was with Kristen Bell, who I'm not like a huge fan of. Like I don't like Frozen, and then I just really didn't get the whole hype of Kristen Bell. But until like she was on the show, I really like her. She is really a cool, positive girl. or like person in general. She's like really great, and her and Conan interacting was very entertaining. And then there's like Michelle Obama, really kind of it kind of like turned, you know, Conan O'Brien to like a serious side, but also like very realistic. Like he can't be funny all the time, but he's still like very entertaining and like cool. So that's one podcast that's my second favorite podcast I really like listening to. And it's really easy for me to listen to it like on my lunch break, because I have like kind of an emotionally demanding job and I need to like unwind and zone out for like an hour, and that show is like perfect for me to just like relax a little bit, enjoy the moment. So Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. Still catching up, but about halfway through the whole podcast so far. I love it. Love Conan. Love. Then my first favorite one. It took me a little while to like get into it. Someone recommended it to me. I started listening to it, and the people on it, the ladies on it, were kind of annoying. But then something happened and I fell in love, and that is My Favorite Murder. I just so happen to be wearing a MFM shirt. My Favorite Murder. It has Georgia Hardstark, Karen Kilgariff. They are two California girls who are interested in true crime, and they just do like a basic, like kind of book report, factual storytelling of murder stories. And this, I'm not like super into true crime, but I do like cool stories or weird stories, kind of spooky, kind of scary, interesting stories. And this podcast takes something dark and not so great, but very interesting, because it's kind of like scary. It's a scary, interesting story that kind of captures me, but they also add like casualness and humor to it in an interesting way that I enjoy listening to. And it took me a while to like get into it. I used to skip forward through like their whole intros, because it's like two ladies, they had like a lot of jibber jabber, but then I started like to skip that and get right to their stories, or I'd listen to their live episodes, because they're super big now. This podcast has gone humongous. They're like on the top charts. They wrote a book now, and it is like top charts. They're doing very successful, and they've created like a crazy little community. Like also when like I walk down the street and they have like, I have this shirt and they go, "Oh, you're a murderino?" I'm like, "Yep, I guess so." Like that podcast, just strangers will like come up to you if you like have like the shirt or like say, "Stay sexy, don't get murdered." They're like, "Oh, you know," it's created this like underworld of like community of people who like weird, crazy stories and true crime. So that's pretty fun. Yeah, so if you wanted to like get into My Favorite Murder, I would definitely suggest probably starting off with the live episodes first, because they get right into the stories and it's a little broader, and then you can get into like their other stories, and you can like skip along on the episode descriptions. It says like what murders what, so you can like, oh, I know a little bit about John Bonet, I'll listen to this John Bonet, or ooh, Ted Bundy. You know, it switches out to different murders, and I really like it. It's always like kind of mind-blowing, all the crazy stuff that has happened, but it's also, they keep it lighthearted and they keep it positive and respectful. You know, it's a weird little mix, and they explain it, and they're very respectful about it, and they're very like positive, very positive to women and to everybody, and they just like want to share what they are very interested in. And so I really like it. And then like I really definitely love like weird, crazy stories, And some podcasts that I've listened to, like, they're really lengthy. They don't get like right to the punchline. And sometimes I just don't have like the patience to listen to a whole series about one story. So this is like my perfect like quick bite of like a weird story. Weird Ted Bundy. You know, what's his story? Like a quick one to 1.5 hour story about that. So that's why I really love My Favorite Murder. It's definitely my top number one podcast. I've listened to all of it. I think I've listened to like some episodes even 3 times. I've listened to it from like beginning to end, and then I've started over, and I think I'm like starting over again on what I'm listening to. I've been listening to it about for 2 years now, but I really enjoy it. That's what I like to listen to right now. In like the past like few months, this is what I'm super into listening for podcasts. If you have a podcast suggestion that you think I'd like spooky stories, I like ghost stories or monster stories, like send them my way. Or funny, like comedy, I really like comedy too. So any podcast that you would recommend that you like, that you think I would enjoy, write down in the comments below. I would love to hear it. This is AMPM Adventures. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, tickle those buttons, tickle those likes, tickle those subscribe. This is PM, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.